Forward to having another home ball game this weekend against a ranked Kansas State. Got a lot of respect for Coach Kleiman and the great job he's done there with the Wildcats. And, it's going to be a blackout for our fans. It's going to be an afternoon game. I'm looking forward to that too. So come on out, wear black, and cheer the Cougs on Saturday.
Willie, you mentioned after the game the other night about the grinding out these type of wins or those type of wins where you're going to kind of have to do that based on how things are going. But what's that mean for the team going forward when you?
Well, it's big. I believe Utah was picked number 1 in the conference preseason. Is that correct? And obviously they lost their outstanding quarterback, but they have a deal called DSSR. That we use to really measure our defense, and they're ranked 4th nationally defensively. That's a really good defense, and we were a whisker away from putting 28 points up on them. We didn't get those scores when we were on the 1-yard line. So there were some good things we did, but I thought we had what we call our plan to win, and we won all 5 parts of the plan to win. Turnover, takeaway, we were +1. Won the rushing game by quite a few yards. I think that's the most yards they've given up, by 60, 70 yards rushing. We had better starting field position by about 100 yards. I think we've really done a nice job the last few weeks with limiting our penalties. And then we did a fantastic job in the fourth quarter. We outscored them 10-0 and 1 time of possession, 9.5 minutes to 5.5 minutes. So, that's a good ball club, and we did some good things. We're always looking for room for improvement, and that's one of the things this morning. We had our normal Monday, practice, and you got to turn the page. We use the first 15 minutes kind of for corrections, and the last 20 for install with our offense, defense. So, every game's going to be tough. This is a very, very balanced and competitive league.
How would you assess your offensive line play the last couple weeks?
Well, the thing I was proud of is that they do some slanting and twisting and movement, and we didn't get them all, but we got quite a few of them, and that's the tough part for the offensive line is when they move guys around. So we've got to do a great job of understanding if that guy goes away, someone's coming in, and he's going behind, another guy's coming in. There's some tells on second level people blitzing. We're getting better at that position. I thought Jake Wiley had an outstanding game on Saturday. That was the best game he's played, and one of the better games any of our offensive linemen have played this year. So good for him. I think Pancake Hunter's getting better every week on the offensive line. Obviously, we lost Dakota for the season, and we've David Ndukwe and Shamar Abdi-Ali have stepped up and playing at that position. So they're getting better, and that should happen over the course of the season. You want your guys to get better.
Willie, have you had many teams, or have you seen many teams that when you can win when you only have 6 completion? Now, obviously, there's run-based teams, the service academy and stuff, but to be able to going back to grinding out wins and when things maybe aren't there.
You bet. I did that for a couple seasons at Georgia Southern. I think we averaged 383 yards a game rushing one year and 360 something. We had an off year the next year rushing, so we didn't throw the ball very much. But that was what we had to do. You got to find your path to victory. We were playing pretty darn good at defense. We were making them go the long field. We didn't have our Liam did not have his best game as a punter on Saturday. He'll play better this week. But a big play that probably goes unnoticed is we score our first touchdown and we get a 15-yard penalty. We got to kick off from the 20, and Jack hits a 75-yard kickoff, and we go down the field and cover it well. And they had a holding on the play, and they start on the 18. Normally, when you're kicking off from the 20, they get an opportunity to start on 35, 40-yard line. So, if you can make them go the long field, you might give up a first down or two, but then you get the stop and you're in the driver's seat then, with your offense out on the field.
And on Jamarian Burnett, can you kind of take us through sort of maybe your history with him, or how he was kind of part of your? I think Zach was in.
Yeah,
on
Zach
his
was recruiting
there,
him. He's out of Alabama, and he's a big guy who can run fast, good movement, good vision. His first run of the game was outstanding. Went right up the middle for about 12-14. Had another big run later in the game. But he gives that element of a big back. He's 225, 230, and got excellent speed.
Good morning, Fritz. Just want to say, first off, Saturday, emotional roller coaster of the game. So, it was a good game, but there were a couple of instances where you could have, extended the lead. You had two drives that ended in the red zone, but you tried to go for on fourth down, but unfortunately, you couldn't. Nothing resulted in any points. Would you change anything about those drives?
Yeah, I would have scored touchdowns. That would have been good, but we stalled on the drive, not just the red zone, a 1 yard line, and a big barometer of winning is what we call 4-point plays, scoring touchdowns instead of field goals when you get down in there. The other part too, and I use analytics. I don't use them 100%. There's sometimes, and there's a few times in the ball game. One time we had a fourth and about 1.5, I think, on the minus 40-something yard line. I punted the ball. Normally I would have gone, but we were playing such good defense during that time that we felt confident that we could get a stop, which we did. We just got to do a better job of converting that into points, into touchdowns. When we go, and we knew on second down we were going to go for it. I think it was from the 3 yard line or in that we would have gone for it, and had a missed blocking assignment, which hurt us on one of them. And then we had a center quarterback exchange difficulties on a quarterback sneak, which was disheartening. But the other part of it is, if you don't get the touchdown, they got to go 99. We're playing pretty good defense, and it doesn't guarantee it, but it almost guarantees that you're probably going to get the ball back in pretty good field position, which is what happened on one of them with Mackay doing an outstanding job fielding the punt and taking it back, I think, to the plus 24, 23 yard line, something like that. But and then we ended up scoring on it. So, those touchdowns are big in the red zone. I'm always looking at statistical data and the teams that score touchdowns in the red zone have got a high win percentage, and that's a pretty clear-cut path to victory if you can, score touchdowns instead of field goals down there.
So the Kansas State Wildcats, there will be your third-ranked opponent this season, and you've had a mixed bag with ranked opponents. Against Oklahoma, your defense did an outstanding job holding their offense to only 16 points, and then Iowa State, the offense, kind of remained stagnant, and your defense did hold on the best they could for about 2.5 quarters, but the wheels massively fell off in the third quarter. So, what's your game plan for Kansas State? Can you get over that hump against a ranked opponent? Because the last time, if I'm correct, Houston beat a ranked opponent was back in the 2021 season when they beat the SMU Mustangs.
Very good. Excellent. I believe we started the season off with the fifth toughest schedule in NCAA, and when the season gets over, it'll be interesting to see where we're at, because everybody in the Big 12 is pretty darn good. So this is another tough opponent for us to play, but we talk about what we call the plan to win. It's going to be difficult to, beat them if we don't win a large portion of the plan to win. We got to be plus in turnover takeaway. That's going to be very, very important. we got to do a good job. They got 2 outstanding running backs and an outstanding quarterback who can run the ball as well. So we got to do a good job in the run game. They've had great special teams for a long, long time since Coach Snyder was there. They've been outstanding in special teams, in the return game, coverage game as well. So we just got to stick to our plan in order for us to have an opportunity to win on Saturday. Like I talked about 3 weeks ago, or +4, we have I wouldn't call it convincing victory, but we won the game going away, and the next week we're -4 and we lost it going away. So we've got to do a great job turnover takeaway.
Willie, how did Zion hold up in terms of coming off the injury?
Good. He's in great shape today, and look good running around.
Going back to the diminishing penalties, I think during the open week you called Jeff over at Army. Can you kind of share a little bit of maybe calling other coaches, asking about?
Oh yeah, you're always looking for things that are going on. I oftentimes will check with some of my former coaches, and they'll tell me, "Man, what are you doing? You've won a bunch of ball games. You don't need to change what you're doing." It's just sometimes takes time to implement your philosophy and establish your culture and those kind of different things. But I'm always looking for a different way to do things. I think I've mentioned this before. I went over and spoke at Alabama's clinic and Georgia's clinic, and Kirby Smart and Nick Saban are quizzing me, and I'm like, "What are you quizzing me for? You guys have forgotten more football than I know." So I just think that's if you want to improve and get better, you're always wanting to learn. And Jeff, I've known a long time, Monken at Army, and they do a fantastic job there. A lot of people think they win strictly because of their offense. They play outstanding defense as well. They've got a plan, and they stick with that plan. It gives them an opportunity to win. It's like Saturday. I was watching Navy versus Notre Dame, and Navy's undefeated, and I think they had 2 turnovers first 2 drives or something like that. And I don't think they'd had 2 turnovers in the season. I don't know. I'm just, don't quote me on that. But so that is tough for them to win that way. It's tough for anybody to win that way. So always trying to learn.
You've hit on this throughout the season, but with a guy like Manjack, other than getting him involved, do you tell him something on the side about, when a guy's only getting 1 catch or is not getting his target as much as maybe he's used to, how to, keep him up, but also find ways to get him involved?
Yeah, you just, Joseph does a good job of being a team guy. It's so important. You can't have, there's different paths to win. Or, you're getting into the season. This point in the season, you kind of established a little bit of what you do well, what you may not do quite as well. And, he definitely had an opportunity to make a big play on Saturday, and he did it. It was a really nice throw by Zion and great catch and run by Joseph. Guys just got to be dialed in, and you got to be a team guy. I talk about it all the time. If you want to be an individual sport, get into MMA fighting. Get in that, what do they call it? The octagon? Is that it? Get in the octagon, we'll lock the gate, and it's only up to you. But this is the ultimate team game, and we got to have guys that are, understand that and play the very best they possibly can, week in and week out. And Joseph's a prime example of that.
The team secondary, it has been, one of the standouts this season. I think there was a stat before the Iowa State game that you were ranked 19th nationally overall in I think I want to say in terms of takeaways. And so, Kansas State's quarterback Avery Johnson, he's had a great season, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for over 1,000 yards and some good efficiency. So have your coordinators, have you and your defensive coordinators, come up with any schemes to limit his presence and his receivers on the field?
Well, we're not going to change. I think the statistic you were talking about was pass defense efficiency. We're ranked very high in that category. I wish we were ranked higher, 19th in turnover takeaway. We'd probably be have a different record right now. Those guys all have got unbelievable one-loss record. But when you get to this stage of the season, you've got a defensive offense, special teams philosophy, and you tweak it slightly for the opponent that you're going to play to take advantage of what they're going to do. It was like Utah. I was a little concerned about, what they were going to do offensively because they had a new offensive coordinator. A little different early in the ball game with some of their play calls down and distance-wise because it was a different guy, but they got back into doing what they'd been doing for the previous 6-7 games, whatever it was. So you are what you are right now, and we'll tweak things. We'll make some minor adjustments, just like they will.
You had a series with Kansas State when you were at Tulane, and they played this year. Is there any benefit for you knowing some of the Tulane personnel watching that film?
Oh, I will watch it. And I watched a little bit of the game because I think it was an afternoon game. We played at night that particular day. But there are a few similarities to what they do defensively and what we do defensively. Played them a few years ago up there, but they had a little different. They had a different offensive coordinator at the time. So they're going to be different offensively. There'll be similarities defensively. They haven't changed on that side of the ball. You'll look at all the different games and see if you can pick up something. If it's a drastic change with what you do schematically, you really don't even watch the game, to be honest with you. If it doesn't do us a lot of good to watch if Army plays somebody, they're under center, triple option, but if there's some similarities schematically, you will watch and see if you can pull something from it.
Did you come out health-wise okay?
I think so. We're a little banged up, but I think we're pretty healthy right now. Today's a day where you run around and you start the recovery process. So I think guys will feel better tomorrow. As I always tell them, the guys are a little banged up. We're a long ways away from Saturday at 2:30.
Just this last one. You entered the last month here, November. Goals are still there, but what's the message? So you mentioned turn the page for this week, but what's for the month? Do you have one in terms of what?
No, we're going to have a bye week after this weekend, and and it just for us, we got to play well. For us to win, we got to play good. All three phases. We do that, we're going to have an opportunity every game we have left, and and that's our path to victory. So we just got to play real good, offense, defense, kicking game, and we got to do a great job of coaching this week. And we got to get a little bit better. Like defensively, we've been playing pretty darn good defensively, but I think we can tackle better. We had some big plays against us where we just didn't wrap and tackle. The first touchdown of the game, it could have been a loss of 1. Instead it was 70 yards or something, 71 yards. So that's a pretty big missed tackle. And then we had a couple guys that didn't take angles of pursuit to the ball carrier. And they took a bad angle. The guy got past him. They didn't keep it inside in front, and that could have held it to a 10-yard gain. So we're always looking at ways to improve and get better. Thanks so much. Everybody good? Thank you all.